Today we're going to cover the topic of forgiveness. How to forgive someone. Now, scripture says in John 20:23, if you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained. That means if you forgive the sins of any, they're forgiven. But if you keep them, they're kept. What you are to do is you are to forgive so that the Father who art in heaven will forgive you. But not only just for forgiveness, but because Christ is love. That is what he taught us. He is love. Love covers a multitude of sin. Love washes it all away, and faith draws us closer. In Matthew, we have information in regards to verse 19 of chapter 16 that says, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So, with that understanding, the things that you bind on earth, they are bound. And the things that you let go, they are let go. Loose yourself from being within that bondage. Stop holding yourself back from that true happiness that you could really have because of your lack of forgiveness for what someone else has done. For example, your friends may do something to hurt you, but that one moment or that time frame does not cover all the good times. It doesn't take away from all the joy and the peace and the love that was shared in the time that things were right. So do you lose your friend, or do you choose to forgive and love anyway? Because no one is perfect. We are all striving for the kingdom, as we should be, those that believe. But if you choose to be bound, then expect for others not to forgive you. Expect for others to treat you that way. Expect for things to go in that way instead of you being forgiven. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to chapter 16 and we're going to read from the first verse all the way to that so we can get the full understanding of what was factually taking place during that time when he was saying, I will give you the keys to the kingdom. Chapter 16, verse 1. Then the Pharisees and the Sadducees came and testing him asked that he would show them a sign from heaven. They're asking this to Christ. This is the Sadducees and the Pharisees speaking to Christ. Now, mind you, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they are the ones who consider themselves disciples of Moses. These are the ones who consider themselves to follow after the law. Now, mind you, Christ said he didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. But in that is why he taught us how to love and to have faith and trust. Your faith is everything. If you don't believe or you don't have faith, then nothing is possible. But to those that believe, all are possible with God. So you have to remember that point in everything that you do. Verse 2 of chapter 16 in the book of Matthew. He answered and said to them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and threatening. Hypocrites. You know how to discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. And he left them and departed. Now, when his disciples had come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Jesus said to them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He told us to beware of their leaven. Beware of what they put into the situation. Now, let's break down, a little bit more what that really means. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. And what that really breaks down to mean is that, when yeast builds up, or when you're baking, let me make it even a little bit more simple than, the whole yeast factor. If you are making a cake and you add too much of one ingredient, it ruins the entire cake. So in that, it is saying beware of that one thing that can come in and ruin the entire cake. If you're supposed to put 2/4 of a cup of water and you put a whole cup, the cake could possibly be ruined. And that's not what you want. So beware of the amount of information that you listen to when it comes to, the Pharisees and Sadducees, is what Christ was saying. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. But Jesus, being aware of it, said to them, O you of little faith, why do you reason among yourselves, because you have brought no bread? So what he's saying is that you don't have any faith. You worried about if we brought some bread or not. But do you not understand that I am with you? Don't worry about that. When we get there, it's going to be some bread. It's going to be everything that you need. I am with you. Everything that Father, I thank you. Everything that you need will be there when you get there. Everything. I'm with you. I'm not against you. You believe in me. You see me. You trust me. But then he had to tell them, oh, you a little faith. Why do you reason among yourselves because you have not brought any bread? I am that bread. I am any and everything that you need. Do you not think that he will do it for us? Are we not more than that to him? That's why he says, O ye of little faith. You understand? Verse 9. Do you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? He reverted back to a situation and asked him, don't y'all remember when we went through that? Didn't it seem like impossible and it was possible with me? I'm with you. You worry about the wrong thing. And then you all the way missed the point that I was making. Because the point that he was making was beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You missed all that. You went all the way back to something you think we're talking about physical bread because he said leaven. But you need to understand that beware of that one piece of something that somebody going to try to throw in there in order to throw everything off. To take away from the quote unquote cake that you're making. He reminded them as well. You have lack of faith. You have lack of faith in me. Micah tells us, trust in the God of your salvation. He will hear you. You don't trust in a friend. Matter of fact, let's go there. Okay. It's Micah chapter 7, verse 5 says, do not trust in a friend. Do not put your confidence in a companion. Guard the doors of your mouth from her who lies in your bosom. Verse 7. Therefore I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Do not rejoice over me, my enemy. When I fall, I will rise. So don't get excited because you have someone that says, oh, you failed, so I'm finna laugh. But verse 7 is the key point out of all of this to say, therefore, I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. That's all we are to do. So when he goes back in Matthew and he says, oh, ye of little faith, you must not have read Micah. You must not have heard who I really am. Maybe you do not believe like you say that you do. Christ calls us to action, not just talking. That makes us religious. But what makes you a true Christian, a true follower of Jesus Christ, a true believer, a true person of the faith, is the action that you put behind it. That is what it is. The book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 9. Again, says, do you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves and the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? They were there with him when that happened. So verse 10 says, nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large baskets you took up. So not only did he give them one situation, he gave them multiple situations on, I was with you. I am with you. Do you not remember what happened? You didn't bring any bread then either. But when you got there, look what factually took place. Where is your faith at in me? Jesus calls us to be totally in faith of him and wait on him. Verse 11. How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread? How is it that you don't understand that I wasn't even talking about bread right now? Are you not able to break down the parables? Do we not speak the same language anymore? Have you not been walking with me this entire time? Do you not know when I talk to you what I mean? When I say certain things, the way that I speak to you? Think about it in a way that when you speak to your friends, when you say certain things a certain way, they know what you're saying because they know you. If they don't know you, they cannot understand you. That's it. So it makes it look as if you don't even know me. You don't even realize that I wasn't even talking about bread when I said, when I spoke concerning the bread. He's saying that right here in verse 11. How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread? But beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. How is it that you didn't understand what I was saying? Verse 12. Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of the bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Beware of what they are teaching. What they are teaching you is not of me. I am here teaching you right now. What does it say? They finally understood that they should beware of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The understanding as to why that is, though, is because the Pharisees and the Sadducees judge according to the flesh. But Christ doesn't do that. That's why he came here to die using his flesh, manifested himself into the flesh. So we didn't have to. They judge according to the flesh. But Christ searches our heart and our minds. That's what he does. What is the intent of your heart? Are you doing that out of love? Or are you doing that to be malicious? Are you bearing the fruit of the Spirit or not? We are not the ones who are to make that decision. We do not have the power to judge. Because if it was up to us, it would be, well, from what I see and what I think. But you don't know somebody's heart. Only Christ does. This is why we are to forgive. Because you don't know what somebody's heart is. And also, you want to be forgiven too. Because it may seem like one thing on the outside, there'll be something completely different on the inside. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the God of your salvation, and he will hear you. Matthew 16:13. When Jesus came into the region of Caesarea, Philip asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" So he asked them, "Who are they saying that I am? Do they think I'm just a regular person?" I want to take a consensus right now. Who do they think I am? So they said, some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. So they recognized that he had, a difference within him, a difference in a capability, a difference to manifest something. But they weren't quite sure who to pinpoint it to. They were, using references from what has been explained before prior to, especially such as John the Baptist or Elijah or Jeremiah or any of the other prophets. Because he had similar characteristics, obviously. How? Because they were speaking through being inspired by him to write these things. So, of course, they're going to bear the same fruit. Verse 15. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." That's who Simon Peter said he was and is, because he recognized that there was a difference. Because the prophet spoke of someone to come. The prophets prophesied of him. They spoke of him. So in that, what do you think is really happening? Verse 17. Jesus answered and said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven." He said his Father who is in heaven has revealed that to Simon Peter. So he told him that he was blessed because he had the connection with the Father to receive that information. That this is, hold on, wait a minute, yes. This is the one right here. This right here, yes, this is the one. This is the Son of the living God. And didn't nobody tell him that but the Father. So he called him blessed. He said, "And I also say to you that you are Peter. And on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it." Verse 19. "And I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound, in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Now we're back to that where we began. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So now we understand, what does that really mean? Reading that whole portion. First of all, we need to take note number one. Note number one is going to be, beware of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Beware of that one person that will try to mess up the entire cake. Beware of that one person that will come in and try to get you to still stay mad at that person that you do not, you have an issue with, that you're trying to forgive. That one person is always going to bring it up. Oh, don't forget he did this. Remember that time? Oh, don't forget when she said this about you. Remember that time? That is how you do not loose that situation. Okay? Because you remember when we spoke John 20 and 23. If you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained. So if you keep dwelling on it, you don't ever let it go, what do you think happens? It's still going to be there, and you going to keep dealing with it, and that person going to keep dealing with it because you keep saying it, you keep saying it, and you keep saying it. But if you let it go, you can have a piece of cake, which is what you want in the end. You want to get a piece of cake. You want to get the keys to the kingdom. The second note that you need to take is stop looking for a sign and a wonder. Because he said, what does he say? Verse 4, chapter 16. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to him except for of the prophet Jonah. Don't look for a sign or a wonder. He ain't got to spit fire for you to say that is Christ. He don't have to do that. It shouldn't be that way. He shouldn't have to say, I am manifesting myself, and I'm going to strike everything down, and I got to manifest every power that I got. Holy Ghost fire all over you right now for questioning me. Do you not know who I am? Do you not understand that I and my Father are one? Do you not understand that I am the Son of the living God, manifested into the flesh, the ones that they spoke about, the ones that they told you that would come to save your sins, the one that they said, hey, he's going to come here and he's going to be the redemption. He's going to give you the keys to the kingdom. But point number 3 is that you want to make sure that you still stay in the faith. Don't question, don't wonder. But don't let you have that one person over your shoulder, the devil, telling you remember he did that though, holding on to something. But you want somebody to forgive you. Forgive them. And then you can have some peace. You can have some rest. You will never get those things holding on to everything else. You can't get peace and you keep holding on to what somebody has done. So he told us, number 1, beware of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Number 2, don't look for a sign. Stop looking for a sign. And number 3, have faith. Because he said, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Because they're looking at what they see on the outside. They're not Christ. They are not Jesus. They can't look at your heart and know the intent. That's not it. They can't do that. That's what he's here for. That's when he is the judge. That's why we are not to judge. But it says, "O you of little faith, why do you reason among yourselves because you have brought no bread?" The point is that we are to have faith. When we went to Micah, it says, "Trust in the God of my salvation." and he will hear me. So with that being said, that is what we are to do. Watch out for those people that want to keep it on you. They don't want you to be free. Beware of those people that want to keep you in bondage, to keep you remembering and reminded of what someone has done and never allowing you to look. Be mindful of those people who want to keep bringing it up and keep talking about it and keep saying, hey, don't forget that he did it. That is the devil trying to keep you bound and not allowing you to be free and make you be caged in that situation. And you're never, ever able to be happy again because you didn't let it go. So the last thing that we need to do is trust in the God of your salvation, because he will hear you. Have faith that he will hear you. Have faith that, hey, I am here with you. Do you not understand and remember the 5 loaves and the 5,000 and how many baskets that they took up? Do you not remember when you didn't have anything and I was there for you and I gave you everything that you needed? You didn't have to go with anything. Don't worry about what you shall eat and what you shall drink. You are worth more than that to him. Jesus has your back. So for your peace, and for you to get the keys to the kingdom, you want to make sure that you are doing those things. Because he told us, I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. And whatsoever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Release yourself. Let it go. Don't allow the devil to keep you in that position and always in hatred and always in thinking about, man, I remember you did that to me, though. I don't ever want to hear nothing from you because you did that and you just got that one thing that you ain't doing. Like you perfect. What part of perfect are you? Cast a stone because you can't. Don't even pick it up. Don't even look at it because you know. You know not to do that. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go back to John. And we're going to remember about the forgiveness. It says, if you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained. So right now, your freedom and your keys to the kingdom is up to you. Will you choose to forgive?